Adding two fields. As we already have created our button, we need to add two fields for email address and password. And the first thing what we need to do is to duplicate our button shape layer. Why I'm doing this? Well, we definitely want our two fields to be exactly the same size as the button. To duplicate our button shape layer, we need to click on it and drag over to the Create New Layer icon right here. And do it one more time for other field. You now don't see what has changed, but just drag each of the new layers and you will see that we got two exact layers duplicated. You can hold down the Shift button on your keyboard to make sure you're dragging up straight and without moving to the sides. Now it's probably the time to rename our layers. And rename our login button rectangle layer to button login. Rename our email field layer to email field and the other one to password field. As I said in the previous lessons, naming our layers properly makes our life way easier and when we will have a ton of layers in our layers panel. So as we renamed our layers, now we need to actually make our fields to look different than the login button. First, what we are going to do with email field is to change the color to black and reduce the size of the field right here. Basically, we are reducing only the fill of our shape. We also could do the same by reducing the opacity, but if you later want to add a stroke to our field, for example, well, when opacity is going to make stroke look as the overall shape look with 11% of the opacity, but if you only reducing fill of the shape and when we want to add a stroke to the field, we are going to get the result we want without losing the opacity of the stroke. So I'm going to show you what I meant later in this lesson. And the next thing we need to do is to add a text to our fields so that the user will know what to type in each of the fields. So grab the type tool. And now I want my text to go exactly to the left side of the field. But if I'll do that, you will see that it's going to get this weird thing which allows us to write the text inside the shape. We don't want that to do in this moment, so press Escape on your keyboard or this X icon. Right now, just click above the field as we did in the last lesson with our button and write down the text right here, which is going to be email address. Set the font to Lato and it's going to be light and set the color to this dark blue color. Now switch between the type tool to move tool and by pressing V on your keyboard and drag the text on top of the field of the shape. And do exact the same process for the password. If you want to have a precise alignment, just select the text layer and by pressing down the arrow keys you can align the text perfectly you want with the little steps. And the last thing I want to do with our two fields is to add a stroke to them. And as I mentioned earlier about the stroke, we are going to add one to our form fields. Go and select the email field shape layer and double click on the left side of the layer. It gives us the layer styles window. This layer styles window is very powerful and I am going to show you how to work with it in the future lessons, but by now what we only want to do right here is to add a stroke. As soon as I clicked on it, you will see that it gets applied to our email field. If you don't see it, just check the preview box on the right. The first thing what we want to do is to change the size of the stroke and make it to 1. Next, make it inside the shape and change the color to dark gray, so we only see a little bit of the stroke, not that much. And finally, click OK and we are done. Voila! You have created your first form fields. And the last thing what we need to do is to apply the same layer style to the password field. To do this, just go to our email field layer, right-click on it and select Copy Layer Style. Now go to the password field layer, right-click on it and select Paste Layer Style. And we are done. Voila! You have created your first form fields. I hope you like it and I will see you in the next lesson.